and gentlemen, welcome to episode 58 of That Range Life, a show sometimes about golf. I'm Bill Bush, DryRangeHeroes.com. That is Chris McEwen at Chris McEwen on all of the social medias.
Pretty
Chris,
much.
How are you, bud?
I'm good, man. I'm good. This is kind of a golfier show.
It's a very golfy show.
Another good guest.
I mean, we're a guest show now. That's what we always do, though.
You know, when people are, they want to be around us. They want to be, involved. They want to be part of this thing. And so what are we going to say? No, like, of course not.
Do you notice how that works with ever since the start of this show? Guests come in spurts. We'll have them like
it's true.
3 out of 5 straight episodes, right? Then no guests for 10. Then we get like 2 guests in a row. No guests again. So something about this show, we just get the guest spurts, and we have another few of them lined up in the near future. And it's not like, hey, come push this, come push that. It's just friends of ours, contacts, etc., who are like, hey, we like talking to you guys, and we got some stuff we could talk about.
It's true. That's kind of the burden of being, friends with everyone, like actual friends with the golf people.
Imagine,
like, dude, let's hang out on camera and record some of this stupid conversations that we have. And
so we so likable that people just want to be around us, like you said.
It's a burden.
Yeah,
quite honestly.
And you know what? We appreciate all of you watching and being a part of this with us. And if you aren't subscribed yet and want to be part of the team, subscribe. Hey, like this video. Do that just because you think you like us.
You're here.
Might as well do it. What is it? Why? What does not clicking like on a YouTube? I don't get this. All these YouTube videos you're watching, like, hey, make sure you hit like below. I don't even care. Well, I guess it could screw up your algorithm if you don't really like it. But if someone's like, hey, can you like my video for me? I go, yeah, sure. Like. And you know what? That's led to some pretty good subscriptions to me. Shout out Davey504, internet's best bass player. Just saying.
We've had some really fun. We continue to get really fun comments from people that are even still discovering our stuff. I mean, it's just the other day, was it yesterday? Maybe someone that I think just bought a set of the E series Tour Edge stuff was watching our videos and kind of reinforcing some of the stuff that we've experienced, which is fun. And so I got to talk with that person.
Take my hat off for a second. I have some news about the E series with Tour Edge. I just finished yesterday my final Tour Edge hot launch 521 review. It will be up on DryRangeHeroes.com very soon, so keep your eyes peeled. But man, what a great lineup that was. Wasn't planning on talking about that today, so we'll just leave it at that. Great lineup. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment. To your point about old videos still getting comments, I can't go back and look at them because of how much I rage, and I'm not cut out for this, as I've realized. But I do get a kick out of the one we got accused of being golf snobs in the Costco wedges. Like,
that's right. That's right.
You know what? Fine. I'm a golf snob.
I mean, I scream golf snob. Look at me. I scream. Yeah,
seriously. I mean, I have my own logo on a hoodie. What a golf snob, I guess. I had the strings in this thing the whole time. That's embarrassing.
I think that guy stuck around, though. I think he still watches our stuff.
Yeah. I'm such a golf snob.
I won him over.
I'm such a golf snob that I am going to be gaming a quote unquote value wedge, which we're going to cover in next week's show. But we're going to be gaming that this year. Like, oh yeah, huge golf snob over here.
Right.
Huge golf snob.
Yeah, that was, yeah. You're not made for that stuff. For sure.
Comment. But you know what? It used to be nice if someone accused me of that back in the day. You know what? I'd be like, oh, go beat him on the course. Now it's like, I could get accused of that by like an 18 handicap. And I'd be like, yeah, let's take it to the course and get the floor wiped, just get killed. Like I have a YouTube channel with like 375-ish subscribers.
I think we're at 380 now.
Which when I say I have, my really good friend has it and has me on it.
It's a we effort.
Stop it.
Hey, speaking of playing golf, man, it's starting to get kind of nice. I think we're going to hit the 60s next week.
I know. Oh my God, I can't wait.
And I don't know about out there.
We had a text from Dad, and by Dad I mean you, and we mean me and Josh the other weekend. this weekend, I should say, and you said, guys, 50 on Sunday, 50 the following Sunday. You've been warned. And
I think I said plan accordingly, but yeah,
let's just say been warned. Right. Well, I'm supportive of all of it, so it doesn't matter to me. I was like, Chris, this is an excellent point you bring up. I hope this works out as well. But then J-Riv is like, well, there's still going to be snow and ice on the ground. I'm like, are you kidding me around here? It's the first full week of March in, obviously. And you know what? At this time of year, if you're out playing, that only adds to it.
You and I were both like, so?
I wouldn't want it any other way here in the Chicagoland area. We had last year, our first round on literally hitting 6 irons off of the ice and roping them, just saying. Like that adds to the fun of it. Like that's Chicago area golf. If you aren't playing some of those rounds, just for the lulls, like it's hilarious. And
I think we're going to miss out though. I think all that stuff's going to be gone by this weekend.
But that's what happened last year. We're like, it's been so warm and rainy, all that stuff's gone. And yeah, in people's yards and the small park next to your house. But when you go to the wide open golf course where all the huge snow drifts happen,
that's fair.
And then we start putting the rules in like, oh, no. You have to hit out of it. You have to putt through it.
Got to putt through the ice.
That was so much fun.
That was fun.
All right. So anyway, today's guest, Elliott Mellow, Bridgestone Golf. So for those that don't know, we already recorded the interview and then we come back. We record the beginning of the show and the end of the show. So I'm not going to pretend like I don't know what happens. And I want to just get ahead of this as we enter the segment with Elliott, Elliott's the best Midwest guy. I met him this year via the virtual PGA show. Sure. He's one of those guys you love him immediately. He's the best. And he can go deep golf. He's a lot like us. He can go deep golf nerd, or he can just have like a good casual conversation. And I think you'll see he brings up, that was off the air. He brings up a old St. Louis area favorite of mine, Fast Eddie's in Alton, Illinois, but he can fall in right on either side of the conversation. Yeah. He's the best. But I tried to do our usual crack of modesty, and they're like, oh, for the two people that watch this, blah, blah, blah. And I went, you know what? That did not land how I wanted to. It's very not just self-deprecating, but wow, I'm sure he was really glad to be on this show. So I apologize to Elliott for that. And I do want to say I appreciate all of you that do watch, that do subscribe, that do comment. We have developed a nice little following here, and we're really enjoying it. So thank you. And hopefully you enjoy this interview with Elliott Mellow of Bridgestone Golf. All right, folks. Another big time guest. We're just turning into a guest show here at That Range Life Show, sometimes about golf. We're joined by none other than the man, the myth, certainly the legend, Elliott Mellow, Bridgestone Golf. Elliott, please introduce yourself to the fine few viewers of this show.
well, thank you for the thanks for the intro there. Hopefully I can live up to the hype.
Well, I was going to say, I say that, but because we actually have someone worth listening to and talking to, we'll probably get some clicks this week.
Right.
Well, I hope so. Some of you guys know me. Some of you, I'm a new face. My name's Elliott Mellow. I handle all things golf balls for Bridgestone Golf. So anything at any given moment, I'm working on R&D for a future product, working on packaging for a future product, working on commercials and advertising for an existing product, working on trying to post something on social that doesn't make me look foolish. So anything and everything golf ball I'm involved with in some way, shape, or form.
That's pretty exciting. So is your background in golf balls? Is that how you came up?
My background's in fitting, actually. So my professional background is in equipment fitting. I used to work at Golf Galaxy, and we were the team I was on. We were training new people how to do fittings. We were opening stores and kind of doing all things fitting. It was traveling through the Southeast, opening stores in Florida with them, and an opportunity to kind of reset and start with Bridgestone became available back in St. Louis, where I'm from. So I took an opportunity with Bridgestone in the fitting side of the business, and eventually oversaw all ball fitting nationwide for Bridgestone, and I mean now I'm in the current role that I'm in.
So you were a golfer turned marketer, basically?
I was a golfer turned fitter turned marketer.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
So the traditional career path in golf, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes us unique at Bridgestone is, at the height of our time, we were 45 golf ball fitters nationwide. We still have a ball fitting program; it's not quite that large. But you look at our current marketing department, and I think every one of the marketing managers that we have at Bridgestone was a ball fitter at one point in time. So kind of that institutional knowledge of how a golf ball works, the culture of Bridgestone. It's kind of the vibe of who we are.
Yeah, and you guys basically understand how important it is to play the right ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from a design of the product, from a messaging of the product to how we talk about it on social media to how I talk about it with guys like you. I mean, I am the driving range here. You know what I mean? I am the golfer that wants to get better and knows there's better ways to do it. And I think that's kind of the authenticity of the brand to a certain degree that we're speaking to the people that we once were not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to save this for later, but to your point of you used to have 45 fitters around the world, and you do put a lot of, everybody's putting emphasis on fitting, whether it's balls, gear, whatever now, but you don't have 45 people around the country now, but there's, in a way, I hate to say this, and I could see people arguing against it, but I'm a pretty true believer in it. Your V-Fit system. And
Same.
I know, I feel very, hey, we're making a real golf nerdy show talking about all the, all the marketing hits. But the reality is, I remember the first time I got introduced to that V-Fit system, I went, okay, yep, it's another one of these things where the survey just leads you to it. But then you guys actually have a way where it's not just your typical survey. And I'll say from my own experience, I got the ball. They nailed it. So I'll let you explain it.
Yep.
Yeah, so traditional ball fitting, and it still exists, but with the state of the world right now, it's in a very rolled back form, if you will. But traditional ball fitting is set up on a driving range, and it's essentially, for lack of a better explanation, it's the Pepsi Coke challenge of golf, right? So we have you hit your existing golf ball regardless of the manufacturer, the brand. We get the data, the launch conditions, the spin rate, the distance, all the good stuff. And then based on what we see, our expertly trained technician would then try a Bridgestone golf ball against it. So depending on where the area of opportunity is from a performance improvement standpoint, we'd select the Bridgestone and then compare the two, and right there on the screen kind of show the consumer what the difference is. And it over the years, we've gotten up to the point where we're 79% effective in showing a performance improvement by switching somebody to a Bridgestone golf ball. And I think some of that success was just from the repetitive nature and the expertise, if you will, of our ball fitting program, but then also to a certain degree, we're taking the data from those events. You talk about marketing, right? So obviously the event is a marketing event. We want to switch consumers, but where people fail to realize the value of ball fitting is it's probably the biggest R&D tool in all of golf, and the fact that we have 2.5 million amateur swings in our database. So we know not only how our golf balls perform for amateurs, but also how the competitors perform. So when we go to design new products, we're able to kind of fine tune and fill holes in the marketplace from a performance standpoint that quite honestly, ourselves and the competition aren't filling. So that's the traditional ball fitting method. And like I mentioned, kind of pre-pandemic, it was a very widespread nationwide program. We had been looking for a few years at some of the barriers to entry with ball fitting. Obviously, from a scale standpoint, we can only have so many guys out there. So we were looking for a digital solution for ball fitting. But we also are looking for a solution where we started to realize that the data from our ball fitting events, when compared to nationwide data, skewed to the slightly better player, the slightly more frequent player than what the general marketplace was. And so as we studied those, we realized there were people that were afraid to swing in front of somebody else. There were people that were afraid they were going to hit our machine. There were people that were afraid they were going to miss the net.
Yeah.
And so we started to look at a digital solution on how we can remove some of those barriers. And that's the V-Fit program that you referenced, Bill. And it's essentially you take a slow motion video of your driver swing, and you upload it to bridgestonegolf.com, and then virtually we have a proprietary software that we can analyze those swings, and we give you all the same data you'd get at the live event: the swing speed, the ball velocity, the launch angle, the spin rate, the distance, and then our expert technicians, very much the same way they would in person, analyze the product recommendation, and then shoot a note out to the consumer on the back end with that recommendation. And it's extremely accurate. It's got a kind of a 99% efficiency when compared to the live fitting event, so extremely accurate from an output standpoint of the data. And it's something that really, you just look back to kind of the start of COVID and also the start of the golf season kind of coincided last March and April. And VFit really took off, quite honestly. It probably was one of the best things that could have happened to launch the product. Well, certainly there's some nationwide, there's some concerns with health and safety.
That little thing, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But we saw, and we've continued momentum of VFit, but especially in the early days of VFit, it was rather interesting because all you need is a driver and a phone and a golf ball, and you can get fit now. So obviously we saw people on driving ranges, we saw people on the first tee filming and sending in their swings, but then we saw stuff that was just kind of crazy, like people swinging in their backyard and hitting shots, people swinging on like a playground at a park and hitting shots at a playground in the background. The craziest one we saw, I don't know if this guy owned the warehouse or if it was at his place of employment. There was this huge warehouse, looked like an Amazon fulfillment center type place, and this guy hit a golf ball in a warehouse and filmed it and sent it to us to get fit. So,
it's like the Bryson video that just came out, right?
Not into a net. Right. No, he hit a full drive, and the warehouse looked like it was probably 50, 60 feet tall, and he full driver swing, just went after it.
Chris, I'm thinking of a possible future video.
Find some open space and just play warehouse golf.
I'm in. I
didn't even think about all the random videos that you guys would get. That's awesome.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily anticipate it. We knew we were going to see some crazy swings and stuff like that because we see them at the live events, but we didn't. The whole kind of live on location outside of the golf course videos we weren't really expecting, but they've been fun to watch and fun to share little stories like this.
The crazy thing though is that those videos still work in the fitting process. Like it's still fine.
Yeah, as long as it's slow motion and we can get the driver, we can analyze the data. So we don't care whether you're at Augusta National or in a warehouse, we can fit you either way.
It's amazing. So we've got you here for the E12, the new ball that is out in the market now. You guys, the way that you launched the E12, at least, from a media perspective, I know Bill got one, but it was like the box with a TV in it. So I just wanted to ask, like, who thought that up and how hard at first did everyone laugh at that person before it actually became like a real thing? Because it was that thing. I mean, if you want to talk about a viral sort of marketing campaign, that worked. That thing was everywhere.
Well, first off, thank you. The piece that you're referencing, Chris, was essentially imagine something the size of a dozen golf balls with a lid that hinges on top, and as you would open that top of the box, there was a 4.5-inch video screen in there that would play kind of the commercials and the marketing message, and then it had a sample of the golf balls. And it's interesting. It was that was probably that was about a year in the making, believe it or not. So we're a very collaborative team. We're a very creative team. We usually find ourselves jumping off the cliff and then having to pull ourselves back creatively, throwing out the parachute, so to speak. But that idea actually stemmed from early 2019. We became aware of this video screen technology that could be added to cardboard or boxes and things of that nature. And so we were aware of this technology. And quite honestly, I couldn't figure out what to do with it. Our president, Dan Murphy, for 9 months just kept hammering me throughout 2020. We got to do something with this video screen.
Really?
I don't know what, but we got to do something. And then kind of as we got towards the end of the year and kind of the uncertainty of, is there going to be a PGA show in 2021? What's it going to look like? How are we going to talk to people? We kind of said we have to use that screen to take talking to people into our own hands in case the virtual show doesn't happen, which ultimately did and was a success. But, October, November of 2020, we're sitting there thinking, all right, if there's no show, and people have trouble with internet or whatever, and we can't get a hold of them, we got to make sure they at least hear from us somehow. And that's really the antithesis of where the idea came from. And we knew it was going to get people's attention. We didn't know it was going to be as exciting on social media as it ultimately ended up being. But yeah, that was kind of a fly-by-night success that we had, and we're glad everyone enjoyed it.
I would hold
it. Even to your credit, besides the TV, which was, the video and audio part of it, that was really cool. You even had like a dimple, like an oversized dimple of the golf ball in the box, which I thought was also like brilliant. It was just great. Like, you guys thought of everything down to even that. Like, it wasn't enough to have a TV in this box, but it was like also you had the dimple in there.
I'd hold it all up to show everybody while we're talking about it. And I thought about this as soon as the topic came up, and then I looked straight in front of me and realized, wait a minute, it's part of the new stand system we have going for my new camera placement. Right. So it's like Chris and I were setting up, working on a new setup with lighting and stuff in my office this past weekend. And it was like an okay height. We just need it to be a little bit taller, just a little bit taller. And I looked to my right and go, oh, this is perfect. And it's the Bridgestone TV box. So I apologize. I thought about even like dealing with it, but the struggles we went through to get the placement functional, not even just right, just functional. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Well, that's the whole team's going to love hearing that, because a lot of times, these things aren't inexpensive, and a lot of times they're kind of a one-time use. But the fact that that's going to be with you guys for a while will soften the blow of the expense for that.
I know we've repurposed it for sure.
And not even like I would say ironically or whatever. It's perfect. It's just like I have a dozen golf balls right here. They're a little too short still. It's the perfect size. So I thank you guys for that. Actually, we thank you guys for that.
It's true. Yeah. And the viewers also.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about E12, E6. Just came out. The E series at Bridgestone is one of the classics, a heritage line. Everybody knows the E6, E12. E12, newish. Let's go with that. And people love it. Great ball. Who is the new ball geared for, or are the new balls geared for, and what can you tell us about them?
Yeah, so good questions. So starting with the E12, that's kind of the rock star of the year. The E12 is all about straight distance you can see. So the dimple that you guys were referencing earlier, it's a very unique dimple pattern. It has a raised area in the middle of the dimple that what it does is creates more contact with the driver face. And so we're on a multi-year program here at Bridgestone called Contact Science. So think of who's Bridgestone? We're the global leaders in rubber innovation. So we make golf balls, but obviously we also make tires. And so what's happening when a tire meets the road? It's a high friction, high heat interaction. And so there's contact science of the tread pattern, et cetera. Same type of thing. There's a high heat, high interaction with violent interaction with a driver and a golf ball. Okay. And so science, and so kind of optimizing that moment of impact is what contact science is all about. So actually, to tell the whole story, we have to flash back to last year. So last year was round one of contact science in the core balls. So we had the reactive cover that Tiger and Bryson helped us design. And what it was a material change, a rubber change that made the ball faster off the driver and then have more spin on the short game shots. So round one of contact science was material. Round two of contact science on the E12 ball this year is the structural change with that dimple that we were talking about. And so what it does is it provides 38% more contact at impact. And so 38% more contact off of driver, that means better energy transfer. So can compress the golf ball more, can activate the core, better ball speed, lower side spin, more forgiveness. So it's truly straight distance you can see. You can see it in the form of the dimple as well as the on-course result. And then if you look at the flip side of that with an iron or a wedge, 38% more contact creates more friction. So the grooves can bite in, impart more backspin, impart more control. So multi-year process with contact science, and E12 is kind of the second iteration of that. It's something we continue to work on as we go forward on other balls. But it's exciting to me in the E12 because a lot of times, whether it's right or wrong, we were guilty of this for years. A lot of times the mid-price point gets recycled technology or something that was introduced on the tour ball 2 generations ago kind of gets recycled down into the mid price and eventually the entry level. We're still technology leaders. We're all about innovations, solutions for your game. And so we continue to invest across the multiple price points because we identify that there's certain technologies that affect somebody that's, a mid-handicap player or slower swinger that are positive for their game, but maybe not positive for a pro and vice versa. And so when you're talking about who is the E12 contact player, it's not necessarily a score, it's not necessarily an age or things of that nature. It's all about how do you impact the ball and what are the launch conditions and the result of that impact. And that's ultimately what we look at from a brand standpoint. And if I had to sum this player up, he's the player that is side spin challenge, excessive side spin, and wants more forgiveness and wants to get back to the short grass. You think of some of the quote pro balls that are out there, and we make a ball for Bryson, the Tour BX. We build that ball to spin the same way that some of the other pro balls are built to spin. And what we see with a lot of amateurs is they're playing a tour level golf ball, a pro level golf ball that's built for tour players to work it right and work it left. And what ultimately ends up happening is that ball takes a little fade and makes it a big slice because that's what that ball is designed to do. So think of the E12 as the opposite of that. The E12 is designed to take that little fade and get it back to the short grass.
I feel like has come up over this show a lot in that being aware, like you might be a person who shoots in the 70s on a regular basis. You're a very good golfer and you think, well, I'm well above average. I should be playing the best balls, the Tour BX, the Tour BXS, Pro V1, whatever. But the reality is, just because they're the quote best balls for the best players doesn't mean it's the right ball for you. And I think, right. Having somebody come on from the ball company and hammer that point home is a nice thing. I don't know how else to put it, but it's like we can sit here as golf nerds and say that like we're not making it up. Somebody who actually does this for a living is telling us right here. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Thank you for the reinforcement. And it's we're not out here trying to hit certain price points or have separation of price and market and just trying to do a cash grab. We're out here trying to truly innovate for all the various price points and the consumer needs. And just because this ball is not the most expensive, it's a $29.99 retail. Just because it's not the most expensive, it's not the most expensive because it doesn't perform well. It's just because it doesn't utilize the same materials that make the high spin tour ball. But in terms of an R&D investment, in terms of the amount of man hours that went into this thing, it's every bit as much as what you would expect on the tour side. So there's no stone was left unturned, so to speak, as we designed the E12. And it goes back to the earlier comment. We go into look at that ball fitting data and we say the original E12 was a juggernaut in its own right, and how do we improve upon that? And the way to do so is to improve contact and reduce side spin off the tee even further. And I'm real happy with what we've turned out with here. And the consumer feedback's been really solid thus far. Kind of some of the pre-launch stuff that we heard, some of the white box sampling. And then over the weekend, we've had numerous comments on social media and from consumers directly. So thus far, it looks like we accomplished what we set out to do. And it's fun to work somewhere where our products do what we say they're going to do. It's one thing to come up with a message or a tagline and hope the consumer gets it. But it's fun at Bridgestone that when we set out to solve for a consumer's problems, the product we put in the market actually does what we need it to do and helps that consumer play better.
Imagine that, everybody. Let's get down to one of the more important parts about the new golf ball, the new E12 golf ball. It comes in multiple colors, not just white, right? I already forgot. I remembered when it just got announced. We just found out it existed. I want to say it's matte green, matte yellow, and matte red.
Yep. That is correct. Our
matte red.
Nice.
I love the matte red.
Our position, we talk about expertise in rubber and manufacturing. So our position on the matte balls has always been, we can't just do matte to be a fashion trend. We have to have matte with performance. And so that's why we have the E12 and matte as opposed to kind of the 2-piece distance ball like a lot of the guys are doing. We want it matte plus performance. I think that delivers in spades in the E12 contact.
So I guess elaborate a little bit on that. You see matte You're not the first brand to do matte finishes on a golf ball. Why would you put a matte finish on versus a shiny or polished finish on it?
There's no real performance difference. Our goal was if you are a matte player, let's say you're a matte red player like Chris, you're somewhat limited in the marketplace in terms of being able to find a high performance matte golf ball. So
Amen.
There's a lot of brands
That's
that
true.
are satisfying the visual aspect of a red golf ball, but not necessarily giving you something that's highly playable and high performance. And that's really the way that we approach this in terms of putting the matte finish on E12.
I would
Yeah,
go.
I mean, for me, I just like the way it looks, but I don't play it because to your point, no one makes a good one until now, quite honestly. I mean, everything that I've seen is exactly that. It's basically kind of and to me, the reason I use them at certain points of the year because they're just easier to locate.
See, I was going when you brought this up, it jumped in my head, and I remember thinking the same thing in like one of those weird winter fall rounds we get here in Chicago. I put a bunch of matte red balls in the golf bag once. I'm like, these are gonna jump out like crazy against all the like dead back. I couldn't find them to save my life. I mean,
really?
Admittedly, everybody's eyes are.
I mean,
different.
how out of bounds did you hit them, Bill? I mean, if you're gonna hit them, you know,
he's a funny guy. There's something about him. I don't know if it's like the way it blends in with our fallen leaves and brown grass, but I could not follow red. Now, what's interesting, that matte green's not. It's not the same color as grass, but it contrasts right. I can find that all day long. So I can find green on green, but matte red, forget it.
Now, is there a scientific process, or is it just purely demand where you guys decide on a color of your matte golf balls?
No, there's a lot of market research that goes into it. Okay. Both from kind of our own data. There's some third-party sources that we can lean on, and then obviously our retailers and consumers are a key part of it as well. But yeah, the matte seems to be the most popular of the group. And I think it's very bright, it's very vivid. The thing that I find interesting about the matte technology, and not to geek out too much, but it's interesting how when you put it under UV light, under sunlight, it appears larger than it does when you're indoors. And so I think the phenomenon is a larger golf ball gives more confidence that you're going to make good contact with it. And so there's a certain element of that some of the matte players enjoy as well.
There's that range light video. we got to make a video seeing if that's a thing, and even if it's not, we'll obviously edit it in such a way it looks like it's true. Okay, I have around these color questions. Nike's been out of the ball game for some time. You happen to have probably one of the most important assets to Nike golf ball production on staff. Why don't you bring back the black golf ball like Nike did? That's my suggestion to you guys. Really, if you want to talk about innovating and taking the world by storm, I think that's what you need to do.
Well, we're open to any and all suggestions. So I will take it to the team.
If you want a real idea, like look at my sweater, look at my sweatshirt, and know what the trend is these days. If you can,
it's interesting.
If you get a tie-dye golf ball, I'm into it.
We were.
I'd play it.
I was trying to get out ahead of that, believe it or not. And there is the USGA likes the golf ball to be consistent all the way around. So having something as a tie-dye or a marble type look to it doesn't play within the current rules.
Really?
But I like where your head's at.
So I could, if I wanted to, now is it legal? We're going to go off on a tangent here. Cause if I wanted to decorate my golf ball in any fashion.
Oh no, here's the easy,
legal.
Chris, here's the easy way to do it. It's like dyeing Easter eggs. You just take them and dip them in dye. There you go. You Easter egg your golf balls.
But like I can mark up my ball however I want, but Bridgestone,
you can mark it for the golfer can mark their golf ball for identification purposes, but us as the manufacturer has to be consistent. It's funny you mentioned the Easter egg thing. We go work with our players, and some of our professionals. Their coach will have 10 different PGA Tour players that they work with, so they try to mark the golf balls so on the driving range they can kind of separate them, so to speak. And one of these guys he's a very well-known teacher on the PGA Tour. He did the whole tie-dye thing that Bill's talking about. And so that was his way. He had pink balls and purple balls and all these balls.
Oh.
So it was a thing. That's a real idea. But what ended up happening is because, when you're tie dyeing, you're dealing with hot water, right? So it ended up essentially cooking the golf ball a little bit. And so all of the golf balls became much firmer than they were intended to be. So they didn't quite perform right, but they could sort them out easily.
They were failing Bryson's saline water test in 2 seconds flat. Yeah. That's pretty funny. I'm like, oh yeah, watch what happens. Next year there's a black Bridgestone and tie-dye Bridgestone golf ball, and all of a sudden you start seeing in all the press about the big flop that was Bridgestone's new ball and whose idea was this, blah blah blah. And all of a sudden our YouTube show might go viral, but it's also like the end of us in golf as we know it. Well, Chris, do you have anything else you want to ask? You want to cover? I feel like I could go into like ridiculous, unrelated golf story questions all day long, but
no, I think that's really it. I mean, I wanted to ask about the difference between kind of this new cover and the reactive cover, but you've basically, I mean, you've sort of discussed that, but are there any other kind of details between those two sort of technologies?
Yeah, so I mentioned the reactive cover. It's a material science change. It's what's called an impact modifier. So without to get too techy on you, it's we changed the equation to urethane. We added some additives to it. I can't go into what they are, obviously, but they are polymers, synthetic rubbers that are used in other parts of Bridgestone business, whether it be a race car tire, a plane tire, a rubber hose, whatever it might be. They're from the Bridgestone family in terms of kind of the blended mix, but kind of new to golf, if you will. And really what Tiger Woods was pushing us to do, and when we look at like our tour players, we don't look at them as solely as an endorser of the product. We also look at them as an R&D asset. And so when we were going through the R&D, the concept of enhanced dwell time, easier said by Tiger, face time, how long the ball is on the face.
Okay.
Especially on a short game shot. This was this idea that we really wanted to solve for. And it'd be very easy with traditional golf ball construction to just simply make the cover softer. Softer cover stays on the face longer, spins more. That's great, but it has a negative impact off the tee where it goes crooked, right? Mm-hmm. So that was what we were trying to do, is how do we increase the face time, but then also make the ball fast and long off the tee? And that's, as we started to talk to various Bridgestone engineers kind of outside of our golf bubble and go into some of the other Bridgestone folks, we were able to draw on that larger tire expertise to really develop the reactive cover in a technology that had both positive impact on both driver and wedge, which was kind of the first foray into this world of contact science. And it took us about 4 years to get to that point of the reactive material. And, we continue to work behind the scenes on additional technologies, the contact force dimple being round 2. And it's more of a structural change, because we really don't want to go to a softer cover in a ball that's all about accuracy, because we don't want to increase the spin rate. But at the same time, we wanted to increase short game control in some way, shape, or form, and that's where the added friction, the added control came from. And so we're actively working on contact science. This is an R&D project that goes on for Bridgestone. We've been working with the tour players going back into 2020 and then through the start of this year. In fact, working with a couple of guys first part of March to continue this project, as we're on multiple iterations of prototype down the line now on this. Some of which are kind of at the final stage, some of which are at the middle of the road stage, but working towards another big introduction, another big evolution, if you will, for PGA Show 2021, when hopefully 2022, when we hopefully all see each other face to face.
Yeah, we're breaking news again, Bill. Last week,
that's what
it was breaking news. This show, we find out that 2022, there's going to be another iteration of a Bridgestone golf ball. It's got to be so much fun. I would imagine you guys almost have an advantage over other ball companies having like the Bridgestone tire.
I really thought you were going to say having someone like Tiger Woods in house. I'm like, Chris, no kidding. He's the best golfer of all time. Sorry, that's on me.
No, but like if you have the Bridgestone tire sort of, you talk about materials and stuff like that, like that. I mean, as if I was designing a golf ball and I heard of some sort of material and I had a knowledge of those things and I thought, I could put that in the cover of a golf ball and it would do this, or I wonder if I could do it with this. You know what I mean? Like having that sort of backup and that automatic sort of supply of, new material, that's got to be amazing.
It is amazing. It truly is amazing because it's not just from an idea standpoint where we go as far as we can with an idea and then we get the tire folks or, I mean, heck, there's times we've talked to the team that makes the Indy 500 tire, for example, that are all about a high heat.
I was going to ask, do you guys like in the golf area of the business ever get any sick perks? Like there's some sort of race in town or here or there and like, come on out to the, I don't know what you go to, the suites. Golf guys come hang out with the racing boys.
Well, I'm on a limitation of how much of a gift I can officially accept, so I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
That's it. It's from another big corporate company. Well, actually, we're all big corpo guys in our day jobs here.
It's true.
That doesn't count. That's internal. It's fair. It's fine. It's Bridgestone to Bridgestone.
No, we are. Bridgestone's big in sports marketing, not just obviously golf. We make the equipment. But official tire of the NFL, official tire of the NHL, official tire of the Olympics, global sponsor. So yeah, there's times that opportunities to attend events come up, and then there's also times where we integrate. So, like at a Super Bowl, for example, at the fan experience, it's not just throw a football through a tire. It's also this rubber technology from the tire goes into helping the best golfers in the world win majors. And so there's a booth set up that you're hitting golf balls, you're hitting irons, you're throwing footballs at tires and fun stuff like that. So there's definitely some crossover. Some of the there's a big R&D facility in Akron, Ohio called the Akron Tech Center, and actually in our Olympic sponsorship, it started out as we're going to sponsor Team USA, and we've got some athletes that we work with. We put in commercials, etc. But it kind of morphed along the way where we actually started working on products for Team USA. So not just the golf balls. Obviously, we made the golf ball that Kuchar used to win bronze in Rio, but and some of the other sports. So there was one particular one that comes to mind is the bobsled and the skeleton guys and all those guys that are going down the ice. Any little vibration whatsoever hurts their time. So there is a bushing that goes between the tracks of the sled and the actual cart. It wasn't vibrating to any level that a human could feel it, but there was some level of vibration. And so then, just like that, Bridgestone's in the bobsled game, making bushings to help Team USA get to the podium. So it's been kind of an interesting evolution, and it's fun being in sports other than golf now as well.
One last story before we send you off. In your role, I'm assuming you do spend a decent amount of time, whether it's testing, R&D, whatever, promo stuff with the tour players. What has been the wild, like that you can talk about, and it's all, safe to say, what is the wildest thing you have ever seen working side by side with these guys that people might find entertaining?
So the wildest thing, we were at the Tiger has a restaurant in Jupiter called The Woods, The Woods Jupiter. And it's interesting because Jupiter is a very upscale location. Lots of the who's who. You're going into the restaurant and there's a McLaren and a Lamborghini parked outside to kind of paint a picture of what this place is like. But that's just the norm for down there. And so it's interesting. We were filming a Bridgestone commercial, and it was kind of the night after the first day of the shoot, and Tiger decides to host everyone at the restaurant before the following day.
Is that good? I don't know.
But it was interesting because there were non-Bridgestone golfers in the restaurant that were like trying to come crash the Bridgestone party because Tiger was at the restaurant. So you had all these other top 25 players in the world that were like, let me get in there.
You got Tom Brady standing outside the ropes for once, trying to get into the party.
No, he was there because official tire of the NFL. He got
the NFL,
up,
right? You could use that, right? Right.
Well, Elliott, thank you for joining us. I love this kind of stuff. It's right up my alley as an admitted gear nerd, and then obviously, fellow Midwest guys, we got to stick together here. So, thanks for the insight. And is there any final parting thoughts you would like to express in terms of the new E12 and E6 golf ball you're here to push?
No, it's like I said, straight distance. You can see. Check us out online, bridgestonegolf.com. Lots of info. Same on social. Social media is really where you're going to be up to date on everything we have going on. We're looking forward to a big 2021 for golf in general. We just hope to be a part of that. We hope the trend of us being kind of the safe sport and the growing sport continues to grow, and we think that it will. Kind of on a professional note, we did expand our factory in anticipation of the continued growth.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking forward to a big year. We're looking forward to a traditional April Masters, and don't know if there's going to be any changes to the course to kind of Bryson proof it, so to speak. So there's rumors of a new tee box on 13. We'll see if that happens, and it's going to be a fun year.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Elliott.
Sounds good,
and I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Elliott. All right. Thank you, Elliott Mellow of Bridgestone Golf, for coming on That Range Life, a show that was very much about golf today. As
true.
Chris said at the top of the show. That's like a industry term, right? Top of the show.
It's true. That's true.
Okay.
I would be interested if, we talk about, put stuff in the comments, even if you're not going to go and buy Bridgestone golf balls, go and do the virtual fitting thing. Like you can do the video, or you can take the questionnaire or whatever. And I would just be interested to see how people show up. I want to get an idea of like, I didn't ask Elliott this, but should most of us be playing a ball that we didn't even know we should be playing, in general? And that could just give you an idea. Like maybe you're not going to buy the Bridgestone ones, but at least you can get an idea of what type of ball you should be playing. So if you want to comment in, like, go take the thing, and remember, apparently they're going to see those swings. So send a good one. I
would argue differently.
You're right.
Send the swing that is your swing. And I'll tell you this, when I did the V-Fit last year, I ran into that problem where I was swinging like, oh, I caught that one pretty good. Yeah, I'll send that one. I caught that one pretty good. Oh, I'll send them that video. And I went back and watched the videos. I'm like, oh God, I can do better than that. So I went and I did do better than that. I was like, I noticed I was doing a lot of bad swing things. But then I thought to myself, I have bad habits.
It's not your swing.
Maybe I'll do this down the road if I fix those bad habits. But this is how I'm playing golf right now, apparently.
Right. Here's what I want you to do then. I want you to go find a warehouse and record your swing in a warehouse and just hit it in there, because it'll entertain the Bridgestone people, and that'll be fun. But yeah, go and do the thing and then comment, say what ball you got, and let us know if you're surprised by the output of it.
We have to figure out how to get that warehouse thing done, at least for a 5-minute.
Right.
Make it fun.
Can we just rent it for an hour? Like rent a warehouse for an hour?
It has to be empty. Lights have to be, again, like 60 feet in the air at least. Have you ever hit a golf ball in close quarters, like off of a hard wall, so the ball shoots around?
Oh, for sure.
Terrifying.
For sure. It is absolutely terrifying.
Oh my God. So scary.
It might as well be shot out of a gun at me. Like you would have thought, I'm hitting the deck, ducking for cover.
Oh, it's the worst. All right, so thanks. Anyway, Elliott, thanks for coming on. Let's get to the.
What do you have? I was going to say, what do you have going on at the website?
Oh, I was going to ask you what you have going on at Origin Stories, but I'll go first. Fine. Pretty big week here at the old drivingrangeheroes.com. We had a new review come up for the new Tour Edge Exotic 721 driver. We'll talk about that on the show down the road. Chris has a little work to do, but
it's true.
A lot of interesting things with that thing. And I know everyone says, oh, it's because you love Tour Edge. Yeah, I do. But the club's very good and it's caught my attention. Not going to lie to you, but if you haven't yet, there's no link. Just go to Jeremy. We'll save the link for when we have the show about that club.
Yeah. Right.
Go to jeremycheers.com, watch that. I also have a new putter vault post up.
Fun.
We're talking about my tour issue Rife Antigua putter. Rife Antigua from probably somewhere around 2008, 9, 10, 11, maybe.
Okay.
But it's an interesting putter. I worked a lot of years to find one just like this. Go to jeremycheers.com, take a look at that post, learn all about it if you're into that kind of putter nerd stuff like me. Chris, Origin Stories. Who's on this week?
Yeah, so this week it's a different sort of show. So it's a clip show. It's a Golf Origin Stories from the Archives, Volume 1. And
there's volumes.
So it's March and it's Women's History Month. And as a father of 2 daughters, Bill, you're a father of a daughter. I thought to get out of the way a little bit and revisit some conversations I had with some of the women that have come on my show. And so this episode is with Cassie Bausch, our pal from Club Champion.
Yep.
Karen Harbin, who is it's not a name that a lot of people know, but Karen bought a golf course recently. And so we talk about what it's like to buy a golf course. And then she's one of those people, we talk about, let's grow the game. Let's do things to grow the game. She is actively growing the game. She is creating Golf Origin Stories every day at that golf course. And so I thought that would be a fun
That sounds like
conversation to have.
Take this, let me finish and take this in the spirit in which I intend it. The way you just said, she is creating Golf Origin Stories every day, literally sounded like such a dorky marketing, lame pitch. Like, okay, all right, Chris, nice marketing. But like, it's true. It's the honest to God truth. Yeah,
she is. She totally is. And I'm genuinely like, I'm always in awe of those type of people that have dedicated their lives to that. And she really has. And then we end the clip show Volume 1 with Diane Knox, Noxie, for those who know her well. She is, related to some other Knox that you may know out there in the golf world. No. But yeah, so I ended the conversation with her and she tells the story about how she came to the States and how she got involved in sort of the media side of the golf business. And she tells her Golf Origin story, which is a little different than I thought. I didn't expect the way that she kind of told the story that it would play out that way. So it's kind of interesting, but yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a different feel of the show, but still, I think it's a pretty good one. I'm not gonna lie.
When you told me what the plan was for March, I was saying, and then we were gonna mention this week's episode. Obviously, started running through my head. I'm like, oh, I wonder what clips he did. And man, you have had a lot of like great women guests.
This is only part of it too. Like there's gonna be there very well may be another volume this month of another tranche of really good women from the show. So I'm very excited about it. So, yeah. Also, just moving on back to the YouTube site, there will be an unboxing video Tuesday.
Mr. Backlog over here. I'm like, which one is it? I had to think about what you told me was coming up. Yeah, we do have a new unboxing on the way. Yeah.
So it's Bill's turn for an unboxing.
It is, and then I don't remember what it is. Never mind.
My unboxing's already been released. I did go and see. I'll put a card up here. Go watch the. We should actually kind of talk about that. The rangefinder unboxing from ShotScope. There's going to be more about that little handy dandy product coming up in the show. So definitely subscribe and hit the bell, because I think what we may do is those people that hit the bell may have an advantage in the future.
I had to think about what that meant. I get it. Got it. I'm with you. There. I know how the internet works. Don't worry.
But yes, it's Bill's turn for an unboxing. So keep an eye out for that.
When we're done here, I'm going to ask you which unboxing that is. But okay, great.
I think actually it's Thursday, so the unboxing's already out.
Oh, Chris, what was in the box this week?
Go back and watch it.
Oh, all right. I'll do that. Yeah, for sure. Okay, great. All right. Don't forget to secondcitygolf.com. Pretty easy to remember because we're Chicago fools. You can really purchase any of your merchandise needs for Driver Range Heroes, Chris McEwen, and a good friend, Adam at Golf Unfiltered. Hey, look, we're not making a bunch of money off of this. I know you guys think so. We're getting rich. We're not. We just want to help our friends and our fans wear the brands that they want to support. We thank you. Haven't had a good mic hit this episode. Good thing I got the cards. Want to thank those who've already made purchases and worn the brands. Shout out Samantha Marks wearing the Driving Range Heroes shirt on her show. Not a big deal. So, hit it up. Pick up a hoodie, pick up a hat, whatever. We appreciate it. Rep the brands. All right, Chris, anything else you want to cover before we close this one out?
I'm good, man. Good show. Thanks, everybody.
I'm Bill Bush, driverangeheroes.com. He's Chris McEwen at Chris McEwen on all the social medias. This has been episode 58 of That Range Life. We'll see you next week.